Good evening, everyone. We want to welcome you back to another amazing edition of Caribbean Diaspora Vibes. We want to welcome you to a beautiful, beautiful Tuesday evening. Yesterday, well, the weekend was absolutely gorgeous. Then yesterday we had tornado, well, literally tornado touchdowns.
Warning all over the place. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Oh my
then
goodness.
today we're back to another beautiful day. And that's just to remind you how life is. We're
Mhm.
going to have our ups and downs, or sunny days, or cloudy days, or storms, and then it comes back. So, you know, just take it easy. Know that this too shall pass, right? Welcome,
Amen.
everyone. My name is Donna Morgan, and I am the president of Caribbean American Diaspora. I'm the president of Women of Culture Incorporated, where we support children affected by trauma, incarceration, and homelessness. And I am a real estate broker and spiritual mindset coach and inner vibes consultant. What's up, Louie?
Wagwan, wagwan. All is well. How are you?
I'm blessed. I'm blessed. Tell us a little bit about what's coming up and station ID, and I'll go ahead and start
Yeah,
sharing.
yeah. I want to welcome everyone this evening to another Caribbean Diaspora Vibes. This evening we are celebrating women in ministry. We want to welcome all our panelists, these beautiful women that surround me this evening. Just love it and big up to you all. We're looking forward for a great session. Want to welcome all the CRR Network listeners from across the world. It is 74 degrees in Kissimmee, Florida, and we're loving the weather. So wherever you are, we bless you and thank you for listening. And of course, to God be the glory. Amen.
So I know it's this week, it's women in nonprofit leadership,
Yes.
which is ministry in a sense, right? But last week we had women in ministry, and a lot of times, sometimes you'd be surprised how women in nonprofit are also in ministry, like a dual. It's the
Mhm.
heart. So we want to say again, welcome, welcome. We have four amazing women who we're going to hear their story. They're going to share their role as a leader in nonprofit. And then we're just going to go around. We want to be able to have everybody also to share, about their website, social media handles, etc. Let's go ahead and start with, we're gonna do Trinidad, right? We're gonna start with Trinidad, and then we're gonna come back to the US. So we're doing like a global thing tonight. Each woman will have 10 minutes to up to 10 minutes to share their story. And please take note of these individuals' Facebook page handlers. If you can donate, support them in any way, we encourage you to do so. All right. So I see that our co-host is coming on, Dr. Arlene, but she still, I guess she will be coming on shortly. So let's go ahead and start with Reverend Stacey, all the way in Trinidad. So let's do up to 10 minutes so that each person can get timely recognition.
Welcome, Reverend Stacy. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Blessings to all.
Yes.
What an honor it is to be on this platform yet another time. I actually share the sentiments of Miss Brown. I myself did not realize it was today, but
Mm.
God is faithful, and I thank Him for what He's doing. So let's just jump right into it. I'm Stacey Ann. I carry two titles. I carry the title of the Office of the Prophet now and Reverend, but those titles came with a cost. I had to trust some process. Here in the Caribbean, in Trinidad, I have an NGO called Women of Transformation. I also have
Mhm.
my own ministry that is soon to be launching its building, Tabernacle of Restoration and Holiness Ministries International, where our main focus in our NGO is women and children, not only the incarcerated, because I too was incarcerated with an 8 years sentence. I was known for doing illegal things in my country and had illegal persons with me in the men and women sector. However, like Saul to Paul, my story was changed drastically with murder, abuse, and a little bit of everything that the enemy could throw at you when he sees we have destiny. So, you know, when I came out of prison, I had the need to open something to help women like myself who was coming out and didn't have much options. In my country, there are more options for men when you come out of prison. There are a few places that will help the woman, but of course it will come at a cost. You have to be either a certain religion. If you're not a certain religion, you'll have to visit their church because the churches do a lot in our nation's prison. However, my NGO is not structured like that. For God shed his love abroad to all. So the Hindus, the Muslim, the Buddhists, whoever, the Rastafarian, because I am dreadlocks, they come to my door for school supplies, rent to be paid, food sometime to eat. It don't need to be Christmas for us to only give hampers. I don't believe in that bureaucracy. I don't believe we have to wait for Easter and summer and those time to give. Giving is all around. Sometimes I go as far as giving from out of my little that God has blessed me with. Where I see it's always better to give, right? And I always get back in return without looking. One of women's of transformation greatest joy is seeing women not going back to their victims, to be victims of abuse like myself. Either the abuser is dead, murdered like my own was, or going back to some places that are familiar to them. Familiarity always breeds contempt. It is something I say, so I don't get familiar. But when you go back to places because there is no help, imagine I came out of prison. Our country has things like food card for those who are not working. But the process you have to go through, you might as well go back and lay with men on your back or sell drugs because the process is so tedious to get a card that is valued about 100 US to sit tops, to get some food. And food is very expensive in our country, in the Caribbean. It is not as expensive as other Caribbean countries, but we have some inflation. So I thank God for contributors like some politicians that see who I am, see where God is taking me, and they will donate, where there's a little of their time, donate some of their funding, donate some hampers, clothing, whatever, because the thing we think is the least, woman, it is the greatest. When you take for granted you have 5 pairs of shoes and you have 1 set of legs and you pose off, there's a woman that had none. And they came to me. They want a shoe without having to lie down on their back with the gunman on the corner, with the gangsters who run the city, with the white-collar crime men who don't mind cheating on their wife. I keep it very real, very real. So the thing is, I try to make sure the women are safe, where even if I can help them with their rent or a bag of food that will save their birthright from going back to that slippery place, that slippery slope. And sometimes it is going back to our vomit, as the Bible says. Not sometimes, but all the time. Picture you vomit on the ground and you have to eat it back up. You know, had a nice dish, ackee and saltfish, but you have to eat it back up vomit. It won't taste the way it went down the first time, will it? So I try to put myself there and see myself not going back there by helping other women. We mustn't talk God, but we must live God. And God is no respect of man. So any race, religion, or creed, sexual preference, whatever, I treat them with love. Because I was in a place where I knew not love, but love was shown to me by all walks of life, prison. And my children were shown love too when I was not there for the years I was incarcerated. So it's a great passion. And I always say this, as I have 4 more minutes. Passion drives purpose. I want to say this. If you don't like humans, don't get into NGO business. Because if you don't like people, don't get into ministry, don't get into NGO. And NGO is a sort of ministry. For some, it will be evangelism because you're winning souls by winning them with a pot of food, shoes on their back, feed the hungry, clothe the naked. Matthew tells us of that for those who read the Bible. So for me, it is beyond being a prophet in the office of the prophet or the office of the reverend. It is beyond that. It's about humanity. They must say, come see a woman of God, not by my robes and when I walk out on a Sunday, but by my simple humanity. To a woman wanting $500 to pay her rent, just not to go back to that man who will cause her to sin her soul. I try to do that We at Women of Transformation try to do that. You don't even have to make prison. At first, God started it that way, but I realized you will start off helping teenage girls or incarcerated women, but God is going to widen the scope as your heart continues to widen. And that's what Women of Transformation do. Women of Transformation, where transformation begins with you, even you, the NGO CEO. So, because if you're not transformed, you cannot transform anyone's life, not by word, thought, or deed.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Tell us how we can get a hold of you.
Well, my Facebook address is there. You can message me. It's Stacey Beckles Facebook. I am not so savvy with the Instagram and those things. I'm trying those things, but for now, I'm safe with Facebook. And Donna has my contact. I want to say this to those who are viewing. Don't send me barrels. In our country, to clear one barrel will cost me a lifetime of money. The custom, if you send me, you pack a barrel with 200 US, it's going to cost me 300 US to clear it sometime. Sometime 200, the same 200 you spend. Better you send the money. It can go 5 different ways. Right. It either will, and I believe in transparency. There's a difference with transparency and honesty. When you're honest, that's when people have to ask you what's going on. When you're transparent, they can see. I send pictures and I show.
Yes.
So I prefer when you send the funding, we can do more. We can pay a rent. We can buy school books. We can pay school fees, medication purchase. But when you send a barrel, I have to look for money to clear it. I have to look for funding to clear it. And some of us, when we give you the bed, we're not going to give you the sheet. You have to look for the sheet. But sometimes we just have to do what we have to do. So you connect with me on Facebook, Stacey Beckles. There are other Women of Transformation, but they are broad. But I am Woman of Transformation. You must see my face. But it's safer to message me on Messenger, Stacey Beckles. You must see my face. You'll see Prophet on the page.
Stacey,
thank you.
Quick, let me ask you before you go. It's been a while, and I've always loved to see you. You're straight up. You shoot straight. You talk straight. You don't sugarcoat anything. And it's good to see you and see that you're continuing to work for so many years since you go through your trial. Do you have a place that you work out of that costs you every month?
Well, actually, yes and no.
Okay.
So, some of us, we will come on this broadcast and we move like we have it all together. I thank Donna for the readings that she put every day for those who pay attention, either early in the morning like me, because I'm an early bird. When Donna is sleeping, I'm sending pictures. But thank God she don't sleep heavy. She sleeps light. But I say this, Dr. Lou,
Yes.
I function from my home, which is not very big.
Okay.
I'm going to be real. I'm sitting on a fridge talking to you guys because I've made some sacrifices. But right at my home, you see women line up. One store testimony. A girl spent 14 years in prison, came out. She made prison for murder. She was not guilty, but guilty by association. She's now doing a dance group in the ghetto, what we call the slums, with little girls. She called me the other day. Woman of God, you could spare me a little money to buy a piece of mat for the little girls to dance in the ghetto, so the little girls will not be PREY, pray to the gunman or the drug man. And I said, out of my little Dr. Lou, I had Mazzy 200 TT, which is about 30 US, tears running down my eye. Because let me say this, when you are dealing with NGO, nobody gives you unless you're fighting their cause. It's a very selfish world. And I'm not intending to bend my rules for anyone. I'm not only going to give this category of people because you want to fund. I'm not going to play that game. God going to do it, even if I have to peel off some of my skin and give them. And I gave up on what little. This apartment I live in here, the women line up there, and I pay the rent for both Women of Transformation and where I live. I try to beat 2 birds with this one big stone.
How many women you have with you now?
Well, the woman that mostly comes to me, you won't believe it. I started off with 5. Now I have 15. 15 on a rotation that you're sure to see them summertime, you're sure to see them Christmas, and you're sure to see them East. Not checking the ones you will meet along the roadside, who you may never see again. They just say, hey, I know you. You the gangster preacher who was in jail with the bad man. Let's call me gangster pastor.
Gangster pastor, love it.
And because you know what? In my ministry, You can come as you are. We talk that, but people cannot come with their sexual preference. We judge them. God's word is love. And sisters, you might hear me preaching. But NGO is part of preaching, whatever denomination you're. Amen, amen, namaste, Rastafari. It's ministry. So I try to do it all around.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And yes, anyone interested can always connect with me. And I'll connect directly also with Reverend Stacey. Thank you for that. We are going to jump into let's see, we're gonna go right into Shay with Shay Forston, since we're on the incarceration talk. Welcome, Shay. Tell us about you.
Thank you so much. And thank you for having me and the Angela Denise Foundation. My name is Shonyasha Forston, but I go by Shay. It's shorter and it keeps it just very easy for everybody to understand. So a little bit about the Angela Denise Foundation and how it started. So this wonderful lady that you all see there happens to be my mother, who passed away about 12 years ago of lung cancer. Born and raised in New York, Harlem, New York, by way of Bermuda. So my mom's, my grandmother, my dad are all from Bermuda. So we were, by island and Bermuda. But growing up, my mom was someone that always had an open door policy. Whether it was the woman struggling with addiction that had kids that could not find a place to stay or needed assistance, whether it be food, clothing, whatever it is, or shelter. In her passing, or actually in our growing up, we always saw it from New York to Bermuda. Once we relocated to Bermuda, it was the same thing, right? The door was always open. I've got so many honorary brothers and sisters, whether they've been in jail, whether they've just had fallen on hard times. There was always that synergy of let's, at each one teach one, or let's pull someone up, give them an opportunity or place to stand and survive. And so when she passed, it took a lot, as the family, all of her kids stayed connected, still very close. Like right now, my sister just flew in from Bermuda last night with my nephew, and then my brother's flying in this week as well, or soon, probably this week or next week. So we all stay very close. And the goal was to continue to have my mom's vision, her legacy continue to live on through us. So even them being in Bermuda, the Angela Denise Foundation is still part in Bermuda as well as it is in Florida and so many other states, because her story still lives on. So what we did is, I got the permission of all of my siblings to found this organization to expand, to keep it going, to keep the help available. So what we've been doing over the last 5 years is providing housing to women who have been facing homelessness, whether it's with a criminal record, with a mental health record, diagnosis, it doesn't matter. Our goal is to bring them in and show them that they are loved and they are welcomed, by not just placing them in just terrible conditions, but placing them in houses that can give them dignity, that can make them feel good about themselves, while supporting them through their journey of transition, whether it's, providing them, connecting them with mental health resources from the community, connecting them with, job opportunities, and by keeping them safe, right? The ladies that have gone through domestic violence and all sorts of different situations and circumstances, our goal is to provide them with a safe haven. So that's how we got started, what we've been doing. We've now been a part of the Central Florida Reentry Network, and that's a new door that has opened for us. Like this weekend, I'm actually going to be in Ocala at the women's prison for ministry. And again, to share this opportunity that there are places and there are housing opportunities once you come out of, that current situation into re-entering into community. So that's some of the key points that we focus on. Also providing toiletries, right? There's a lot of community programs around in Central Florida, especially, but a lot of times they are lacking the access to those toiletries or to the key things that they need to disperse to others. So we try to be a hub in the community for our other nonprofit, partners in the community, to provide them with some of the necessity items that they may need. So again, we do a lot, and it's not just focused on women. So I'm the nonprofit organization And I also assist other for-profit organizations that do the same thing. So my goal is to obtain funding, help provide them with financial resources so that they're people that are needing help with funding for rent, funding for, it may be a hotel, to reside in a hotel until they can get into the shelter. Prime example, just 2 weeks ago, a lady came from South Carolina, domestic abuse, lost a child in the process of, I think the baby was only like 4 years old. The baby passed away suddenly. And, she's now going through some significant hardship. So what we did is we were able to place her in a hotel until she can get access to services. So right now she's at one of the organizations here that is helping her get back mentally focused. And as she's doing that, we're still in communication. We're still texting on a daily basis, uplifting her and being able to help guide her. And it's not just one organization. The blessing of the Angela Denise Foundation is finding like-minded partners to help also pour into these individuals as well. So that's a little bit about what I do in the community, how we've been positioned, and how we're able to even take it back to Bermuda. The goal is they've been a big donor for us because they knew my mom's heart. So they've been able to assist in a lot of the work, the legwork that we're doing here, from both the financial and just even a supportive framework. I had a family member that would come whenever she came on vacation, would come and sit down and just share the word, encourage, because her background was drug addiction. Now she's sober, saved, and living for God. So she comes in when she travels and she comes and pours. So it's not always just the financial thing. It's also being the support, the emotional support to these women that we house. And that's a little bit about us. I know you said 10 minutes, but there's so much that you can talk about, and I don't want to ramble, but really the Angela Denise Foundation is just really looking at ways that we can help meet needs in our community. If we can't house you at the specific point in time, the goal is to connect with others that can supply that or meet that need for you. And that's how we've just really grown and developed over the last 5 years, is by being again a connector in the community with like-minded organizations. So I hope that is, a breath of information about us and what
of
we
course
do.
you will be one of our partners for our upcoming Second Chance Resource Fair in April.
Correct. Yes.
We're in the Central Florida Reentry Network together. Thank you. How can people find you, Shay?
Absolutely. They can find us at the Angela Denise Foundation on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. We try to spread the message as far and wide as we possibly can. They can also visit our website at angeladenisefoundation.org. And that's the best entry point to contacting someone on my team.
Wow. Thank you. That's so awesome that you're doing that for your mom. Oh my gosh.
I mean, so many stories I can share, childhood memories of seeing, the next door neighbor who went into labor but was an addict, right? And my mom took care of her kids while she was giving birth and then going through detox. I can tell of so many stories of just, seeing individuals that just needed assistance, whether it be financial. I've seen my mom help people send their children to college by, I know certain islands call it different things, like a susu or stuff like that. So my mom started, we in Bermuda called it a club hand. My mom started a club hand so that women can learn how to save and really position themselves financially to meet big milestones, financial milestones throughout the year. So our goal is to continue to build those same things into our program in the near future and be able to assist these individuals to really just get out there and make better for themselves and their families.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much for that.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yes,
We're
excellent job. Yeah, excellent job, Shay. I have a question for you before you go. What age group are you coming upon? I know you do both women and men, but in terms of the women, what are the age group that you are mostly seeing that you are assisting out there? What age group?
So the age groups that I'm seeing now are the 40 and up. has been the calls coming from me. Yeah. What I would like to share on this platform, and I'm grateful that you asked that question. I see more Caucasian women, Hispanic women, and very little of our African American or Black women that are seeking help. I just want to say this. This is not to look down on you. We're not here to judge your situation or circumstance. We're here with open arms to help you. And I feel that that is the hardest population to reach in what we do, because of, I don't know if it's pride. I don't know if it's guilt. I don't know if it's shame, but I want people to know if you are needing help, we are here and we are willing to help you. And don't be fearful of saying that you need help or assistance. And that's one of the things that I've seen in the whole 5 years. I've gotten more Caucasian residents, more Hispanic residents than I have the African American female in this housing program.
Thank you. And tell us a little bit how you're, it's shared housing, right?
Correct. It is.
Are you able to say what the cost roughly?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So right now, so thank God, glory be to God, we were able to purchase a property last year. Usually we were doing this through the rental arbitrage method, which I was renting and then subletting. But it was every homeowner knew that we were in a nonprofit organization and was so on board with what we do. The property that I purchased was from a Bermuda family from Bermuda. So again, it was a blessing because the cost was nowhere near, what we would have paid had it been outside of that. And so what we do is shared housing. We have 3 different models inside the one. I have a private room, private suite. So it's also the room with an ensuite. And then I also do 2 per room if necessary or need be. The price point starts at $680 per month. The great thing is that we've been able to get funding in to subsidize some of that stuff on an ongoing basis. We've been partnering with other organizations. Thank God, glory be to God, for a relationship with First Horizons Bank, who has been an amazing partner with us for the last year and into this year, that has been supporting the Angela Denise Foundation in so many ways. But again, that starts at $680 and up. It can go up to $900 depending on the location and the home. Most of our homes are, I'll live in them. I go and hang out all the time. They sometimes want to kick me out. Like, can you go home and leave us alone? But ultimately, it's wanting the ladies to have a safe place, a place that they can just really call home. And again, it's just a beautiful atmosphere that we try to provide for these women so that they can reacclimate into community.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that.
Absolutely.
We're going to move on to Miss Maurita Sutton-Brown. Welcome.
Hi. Oh my goodness.
Welcome, Ms. Brown.
Ladies, it's just totally amazing. So I will start with, this started a long time ago with who I am and how this became. I remember my mom always volunteering. So on Saturday, we did it no matter what. But in doing that, she did youth at risk. Did not really know what that meant. I just saw children and I saw we had fun. Did not know these were murderers, rapists, so forth. I didn't learn that until I was in my 20s. Like, Mom, you had us around? What are you? She was like, we were doing what we were supposed to do. That wasn't important, So I go on, and being the only girl, my grandmother was like, no coffee, you can't wear black, just certain things, keep your legs closed type of things. And my grandmother, very proper, she's interracial, black and white. So we grew up in a nice neighborhood, all that stuff. Tea, pound cake, those kind of traditions. But then, you get a little wild. Then you get out there. I'm glad we all open and transparent tonight. And so you get out there and then you meet a gangster. Okay?
Yes.
And a millionaire gangster, right? And you fall in love for 5 years and you give him 2 children. But then you wake up and go, I don't want to be his wife. And I don't think he ever wanted me to be his wife because he never married me. And I'm just going to stand on that in case you're watching. You never asked me to marry you, dude. We're going to keep that on the books. So time goes on. I decided to walk into college. So I went to Art Institute. And when I got to the Art Institute, there was this beautiful gay boy sitting next to me. He was in all white and black. And I just needed to go to this orientation because I wanted an education. At the time, with my mom going through abuse and just didn't want to get married, didn't want to have kids, like everything I didn't want, it was like in my face. So education came up. And I walked into Art Institute, and my gay friend that I had just met in like 3 minutes was like, is this school accredited? Did not know what it was, but it sounded important. So I was like, yeah, is it accredited? Because I really don't have time to waste. It wasn't. He grabbed my arm. I am 6 months pregnant. We're going down the block. There's 3 more universities. So we went down, and it was American College. And I was like, oh, that sounds like it's from London. Go in. It actually was an art school. And I sat down and I met an Italian woman and I said, look, the guy out in the car I don't want to be with and I really need to go to school and I need y'all to like tell me what I need to do. Well, I walked into a classroom with the owner, did not know he was the owner of the school, Arab man. He goes, come on, let's just go sit down. I sat down. A semester later paid for, this was about $10,000, $12,000. 2 semesters, actually, it was 2. I always say it's 1, but it was like almost a whole year. Anyway, it was all paid for. I had my baby. I completed my 4 years. On the 3rd year, I had another baby, not married. I made him sign the birth certificates because my grandmother was like, you're not having bastards. Excuse my French. Did not know what that meant, but it did not sound right. So we went on. I completed both degrees, bachelor's degrees, my master's degree, and then I met the man of my dreams. And we've been married 23 years, together 25. We have a son.
Amen.
He took my girls in. They were 3 and 4. So here I am, highly educated, ready to do my thing. I met him. I was making $80,000 a year, about to build a house, 29 years old. He thought I was older because I was so mature with what I was doing. I married this man, moved to Texas, gave up everything. So here I am raising 3 kids. I started an art school. It was an after-school program. I'm an interior designer now. And I have my master's import-export, doing all this stuff in Atlanta and Buckhead. I meet this man, I marry him. We moved to Texas and my whole life stops. Just stop. I'm like, mom, military mom, like, don't know what the military is, never raised my kids. We had a nanny, so I said, I'm going to start an art school, an art after school program. We had 5 kids. It went to 65. We have t-shirts. It was called Art Society. Okay. We were beautifying the school. I thought I was everything. Then I turned into PTA president. Fast forward, we moved to Florida. My son's in the 3rd grade, which is my husband now. And I become PTA president. I became PTA president all through these kids going to school. So I've always volunteered. So the senior year, I decided I would do Rotary. I did Rotary. When 2020 came, I decided to do a $50,000 gala. None of the white people thought I could do it. Just put me on fire. I did that $50,000 gala, honey. I gave those awards to these first responders here in Lake Nona. So then I'm like, okay, I'm going to go back to work. I don't want to do Rotary anymore. But it's just, I'm yearning to do something for women because I coach women all over the world. Everything I do is with women. So I became a life coach in between all of that, wrote spiritual books. I'm going to put that there too. So I got hurt in 23. A table fell on my leg at a boutique while I was doing a client's house. I came home with my mindset. I just stopped 3 clients. I can't do it while I'm hurt. You cannot coach someone when you're in pain. Not on the level that I coach for the amount of money they pay. So I put them on hold and I couldn't go up the ladder. So I'm sitting at home and I'm crying. I'm depressed. So my husband walks in the room and I go, hey, I want to give money away. And he goes, well, you already do that. I mean, you're always decorating these dorms. You give your candles away. You're already doing that. I go, no. I want to give a big lump sum of money to a girl to go to school. Now, mind you, I got all the way to dissertation with my PhD in psychology, industrial organization, to coach executives, and Obama cut all loan money off. Y'all know when that happened. And you were just stuck. The last 18,000 just stuck. But I decided 10 years ago to raise my kids. Fast forward, I'm at dissertation. I owe money to finish, to Capella. I'm hurt. 2023 August. That February, I said, I want to give money to girls to go to college. But everybody was like, oh, we do 1,000. Well, my son's book was 700. So I'm like, 1,000's not going to work. I remember the 10,000. I was like, honey, I want to give $10,000 away. He was like, Maurita, where are we going to? I said, don't worry about it. You know, if I can raise 50 grand for Rotary, I can do it for me. So I did it. I walked in it. When I say I walked in it, a woman walked up to me. One of my girlfriends was like, you need to know her. The other girlfriend was like, tell her about what you're thinking about. I told her what I was thinking about. She wrote a $5,000 check that next week at lunch. Do y'all hear me?
Yes.
No nonprofit, ain't nothing set up.
Good job.
Nothing set up.
Yeah.
I'm on here trying to get it together because I do businesses, but never nonprofits. I sat here and set up another business. It was not a nonprofit when I called the IRS, so the lady walked me through it. I'm talking about God. 2 weeks, I had a private foundation, nonprofit 501c, her scholarship fund, where I give $10,000 to one girl. Now, the reason why all of this builds up to that, women owe 65% of the debt to the education. So all this stuff that the government is talking about, PT, I'm not giving him his title, PT, and that other one, that E guy, what they're talking about, right. Women owe 65% of that money. So that, I'm like, I was one of them. Thank God everything was forgiven through Biden. Thank God. But I told my husband, my reason is my heart. So I further researched. There is only 3% worldwide of female art in museums. This is why we as females do not get recognition for art at all. So I went to the art festival here in Lake Nona. They had 35 tables, only 7 women out of 35. So I'm like, okay, God, you're going somewhere. Well, here's the deal. The girl that got it last year is Black.
Yes.
Listen, of color. I don't judge. No one knows their color. I turn the package in to judges I don't know. I hire them in and feed them and all that good stuff. So she right now, because of that scholarship, is in Tokyo, Japan. A full semester.
Wow.
Based off of what I gave. Listen, her mom called me crying. I cried. I still cry because I'm like, all I want to do is raise funds for these girls to know what art is. And by the way, my children's name is Symphony, Harmony, and Music. I did not know this was going to happen. I had no idea this was going to happen. So as last year was the first year, this year we're trying to do 2. But where this is going to be a big deal is where, and then I'll turn over, if you have questions, but I am going to set up for the girls that are less fortunate to come through with an art school and a museum. This is bigger than just, that's that part that I get to pour into a full year. And why not start with 10 grand? Why not give it to 5 girls? I want 50 grand by March. And I know that money's coming. That's 5 girls. That's that. What I want to see is when I was doing that art society from 5 girls to 65, I want them with art. A whole art packet for school right now is $1,200, just that one class. Right. So I want to be able to get these women to express themselves. We have art therapy. I am starting a section in this for her scholarship fund, art therapy, so that the women can come on the weekend and just draw their hearts out that's been raped, that's been molested, that can't speak it, but they can draw it because I've been in all of those situations. So people will see me and they will see what I have, but I work for what I have.
Yes.
But how I choose to give back, oh, it's big. That's just one sector. But listen here, that art school will be opening. I'm working on that art therapy where they can get on horses, where they can swim, anything that deals with art, where they have been hurt and they can come in and just let it out. And then we give like a competition and they can win money and they can bring other girls off the street. Just like she said, when you bring girls off the street, they got to have something to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I do candles, I do beads. They will learn. I'm going to have workshops. So this is going to be big. My next, I say 20 years, it will be pouring into young girls expressing themselves through the arts. That's all.
That is awesome. That is awesome, Maria.
Amazing.
Amazing. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Dr. Arlene, you snuck in. Do you have any comments so far before we?
I am blown away. I always, Stacey, praise the Lord, you're still on the path. And thank you so much, Shay Shay, for carrying on your mom's legacy.
Yes.
I said, oh, that's what we, in my family, we're doing, taking my grandmother's legacy and moving forward. Maurita.
Hey.
Powerhouse. Wonderful. God bless you.
Amen.
What a journey. So beautiful. What a magnanimous heart.
Thank you.
Yes. You're going to go places. You have the heart.
Thank you.
Yes.
I just love the art. I ooze it out.
We see it with the children's name.
Yes. But you never know. Like God set that up. It was a struggle with that man. It was a struggle. And I refuse. I refuse to have him around. I didn't want him around, just the way I was treated. And that name, Symphony and Harmony, I wanted my future with them because I knew we were going to be alone, those 4 years to be in sync. Like, and then, of course, the husband wouldn't let me name him Orchestra. So his name is Winston Michael and middle name Music. But
hey, good job. Good job,
He put his foot down.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. And I do go to, a person asked me, why did I choose to give so much? I go to corporations for the money. We only do 2 events a year, and they're just big fundraising events. And the corporations that give like behind the scenes, because it's a private, they just get acknowledged at the dinner or whatever. But the part that we do for the girls will be another entity of like the charity part. It's just, it started so quickly. It was an idea that just, you got money in your hand. What do? You go forward. Yeah.
Amen.
So, but I'm
Tell
also
us how to find you.
If y'all need anything, come to me. I will help you. I will support any of you and what you need and do at any time.
Thank you, Maurita. Tell us how to find you.
Yes.
The best way to find me is my name, Maurita Sutton-Brown. Google me. Everything is on Google. Probably what I ate yesterday is on Google. If I post it, Google posts, they pick what they want, but it's strange. Like they pick some, I'm like, why did you pick that? I posted 5 times today, but I'm on Google. I'm on their system. So, I mean, up until, yesterday, there's something on there that I did. But yeah, you can Google me and you will find me.
All right. Maurita Sutton-Brown, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
We are going to go to our next amazing nonprofit leader, Rhea Clarke.
Oh,
hey everyone. Maurita, you just gave me chills. Oh my God, I love her.
I know, I love you too. We live far away from each other, but
I know you do. You always love me. It's Newman now, Rhea Clarke-Newman. I've been married a year.
Yes, congratulations.
Somebody married this girl. Somebody married me. So my name is Rhea Clarke-Newman now. I have a nonprofit organization called TULIPS Blooms. It's a nonprofit organization for women life after breast cancer. Just to give you a little bit of history of how that came was About 7 years ago, 2017, I found a lump in my breast. Actually, my husband found the lump. I totally ignored it. Like I was like, oh, cancer don't run in my family. It's probably just a cyst. So I'll check on it later. Needless to say, that I had just had a mammogram that January of 2017. So needless to say, by December 2017, it was moving fast. So it was stage 3, invasive ductal carcinoma, breast cancer. That's how fast it had progressed over that year. So I was like, oh my God, this can't be happening. They gave me the news. I was devastated. I went in my car. I cried. I didn't like the way the doctor delivered the news, which will bring me to how I got to Tulips. And I was like, I didn't take it. I was like, nope, I'm going back in. He gave me like a piece of paper. He was like, look, you got breast cancer. Here's a paper. Look on here. Pick your doctor. Sorry. I was like, okay. So I was devastated. Went and sat in the car. I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And I sat there, called a couple of people, and I said, you know what? No, ma'am. I've been going to him for 10 years. There is no way he's going to give me no news like this. So I went back in there. I demanded him to tell me what I need to do. What is the next step? I've never had breast cancer. I don't know what to do. So you need to tell me what to do. So he apologized to me and he gave me Dr. Cotter. Well, moving forward, my husband was the best supporter. Like my husband is just amazing. And at that time, he was just a boyfriend. And I only had been dating him 5 years. So I went home. I was afraid to tell him because I had been hearing like horror stories because I always have been an advocate for breast cancer. Like I did the walks. I always, contributed to breast cancer. I don't know why I always gravitated to this particular nonprofit, but I always was an advocate for breast cancer even before I had breast cancer. So I told my husband I found the lump. He knew I was going there and everything. And when I got home, I was like, oh my God, how am I going to tell him this? I worried about my kids. I had picked out my casket. Like I just already had figured this was a death sentence. Like that was my thought process at that time. So I went home and I tried to not tell him. And when I sat on the bed, he was like, hey, you went to the doctor today. What happened? I was like, damn, okay. So I said, I have breast cancer. He said, oh, so we got breast cancer. Okay, let's figure this out. He made a phone call to his sister-in-law. He was like, hey, my girlfriend has breast cancer. God, now listen to this. This is how you know God was all up and through this. So come to find out, she worked at a doctor's office. She worked at a breast cancer doctor's office. Been knowing her at this time for 5 years, never knew she worked at a doctor's office with a breast cancer doctor. Never knew that. So needless to say, this doctor, Dr. Diane Chambers, months to get in to see her. She said, oh, really? No problem. Made a phone call. She got me in the same day. For people, it take months for them to see this doctor. She got me in the same day. Went to the oncologist that the doctor gave me. They looked over everything. And you know how you look at people's expressions on their faces and they're looking at this, they're looking at this lab and they're looking like, oh, we got to get her in surgery quick. It's growing. This tumor is huge. So he goes and calls the lady who's supposed to see me the same day. I would say, well, I'm going to see her now. He was like, no, I need you to go straight there. So I go straight there. They do the examination. They find another spot in the right breast. So they say, you have an option. What are you going to do? I say, hey, just take them. I looked at my husband. My husband said, don't look at me. I just want you alive. You do what you need to do to be alive. I don't care what you do. So I was like, okay. So we went with the full breast, mastectomy. So next thing I got the breast. So they came out to my husband to tell him I was going to do the mastectomy. The tumor was, when you feel it, it felt like it was just real little. But when they went in, the tumor was as big as a golf ball. What saved me, it didn't spread to my lymph nodes. It didn't spread to my margin. It was localized in my milk duds in my breast. So my breast milk localized the tumor so it didn't spread. But I had stage 3 but it was that was I wasn't supposed to be here. So I was like, oh my God. So my husband knew about it. Everybody was praising God. My whole family was here. Like, I had so much support and love. So one day I was sitting in my car and I was just telling everybody, life for me has always been nothing good ever happens good for me. Like, I always have to fight and struggle for everything in life. Like, that's why I never did anything. Like that 1 in 10, like that 1 in 10, I never did drugs. I never did anything because I always would be that one. Whoever that one would be me. You know, if that person was like, oh, don't do that drug, you might die, that would be me. So I was like, I ain't doing nothing. Like, I felt that's who my life was set up. And one day I was sitting in my car after chemo, my hair fell out. Oh my God, I just went through such a journey with breast cancer. And I asked God, why me? And he said, why not you? I heard that so clear. A lot of y'all not have heard, why not you? He said, you love to talk. You're a motivational speaker. You have done so many things that are in the world. I already had 2 businesses. I already was doing things with motivational speaking. I always loved community. I love women. I love doing different things. He was like, I'm just adding to your resume that you're going to change the world with this. So I need you to fight and get through this. And from that day on, I was like, okay, it's on and popping. So then I met another young lady who died. And in this journey, you meet a lot of people and they pass away. So this one lady, Miss Loretta, I met her, and she said, when you go on chemo, Miss Rhea, I want you to put your lipstick on and you put your heels on and you walk in chemo and you get those chemos and you smile and you just, get your chemo. I said, yes, ma'am. So I would put on my lipstick, bald and everything. Sometimes I put a scarf on or whatever, and I would go in there and the people would be looking at me and I'd just be going in there switching with my heels on and my lipstick and I'd get my chemo. I had to do 4 rounds. And then, met another young lady and she passed away. So I would just be like, why is all these people passing away that I'm coming in contact with? And God is saving me. Like, I'm meeting all these people and they're dying, but he's saving me. And I'm like, this is so weird. So one day I was sitting and I was thinking about this. I'm like, okay, this has to make sense to me. So I'm thinking, looking at stuff. And so I started looking at pictures, and all these pictures I was seeing me. It was 8 of us, but it was 5 of us. That means 3 died. Then I was looking at another picture. It was 3 of us. 2 died. I was still there. And I was looking at another picture and 3 women died and I was still there. And I was like, wow, this is crazy. And so then I realized the same concept that I was saying, everything happens to me, God flipped it and was saying, you're the one now. I'm saving you because you're supposed to be here saving everybody else. And I was like, got it. So then I said, it's time for me to do something with all this. So I started TULIPS. TULIPS I was talking to this lady and she said, TULIPS is a resilient flower. It's a hard flower to kill. She said, so I think you should name your nonprofit TULIPS. Her name was Lily. And I said, okay. So I looked for TULIPS, and sure enough, they say TULIPS is a resilient flower that is hard to kill. So I went to the state. We're a 501c3 nonprofit for 2 years. And I went to try to register TULIPS. Well, TULIPS was taken. So I was like, darn, what I'm going to do? So I ended up using TULIPS Blooms. So TULIPS Blooms wasn't taken. So I used TULIPS Blooms. And everybody was like, oh, yeah, TULIPS Blooms, that's good. So it started as a group of women who we all were cancer free, but we're still struggling. We're still struggling life after cancer because we're dealing with like our breasts are gone. Our skin is different. Our hair isn't growing back properly. We're just mentally, we're dealing with people that we've become so close to and become friends with that are no longer here. And we're trying to figure out, why are we still here? Like, everybody's just still. And so we were doing like a support group, and, we're dealing with neuropathy. Our hands are getting numb sometimes, and our body aches. Like, one of the side effects I deal with really bad is I have joint pains. I have a lot of joint pains. And so we were just sharing and doing this. So next thing we know, we were meeting and we were doing groups and we were, just joining together and having things. So someone said, you need to do a nonprofit. So we started doing workshops and we started doing different things because we wanted people get your sexy back. And we were just doing things because a lot of women were dating and they was like, how are we going to tell a man we don't have any breasts? Like, we were just trying to figure out all these different things. So finally, I started a nonprofit organization called TULIPS, and we help ladies life after cancer. Now we have 25 members. We do workshops. Our main goals is community education and support. So we do things out in the community. We also support other women, but we mainly deal with ladies life after cancer. But if we meet women that are currently going through the journey, we do have other resources that we provide for them to get the assistance that we need. We have other sister organizations that we refer them to get housing, to get help with being transported, to help them with co-pays, to help them with insurances. So that's kind of how we ended up doing the organization, so we can start helping women, mainly African-American women. We help with wigs. So then now I work with Eden Spa. So it came a full circle because now I'm a mastectomy bra fitter. So now for Winter Park, I help women with breast cancer. So now I'm a certified mastectomy bra fitter where I help women to be fitted for bras and prostheses.
Wow.
So I've been doing that for a year, and been doing it for a few months, and I love it. So I get to pour back into the community, and when now I get to see like women who are newly diagnosed, I help them with bras and I help them fit. And I'm the ambassador for Eden Spa for Winter Park, and I get to help these women to do things, and they're letting me use my nonprofit to help do things and incorporate that. So I get to work on my nonprofit. So that's kind of how I end up with my nonprofit. And my husband, I ended up getting married a year ago. So even after all I've been through, he still wanted to marry me. So we've been together for 13 years. So so that's pretty much how Tulips, again, I have wonderful parents. I grew up in Sanford, Florida. I have 2 amazing sons and 2 bonus daughters and 7 grandchildren. Yes.
Ria, just a quick second, Ria. I know Lois has to jump off.
Yes. I just want to congratulate all 4 you ladies, Stacey, Shay, Maurita, and Rita. Big up to you guys. Excellent job you've been doing.
Thank you.
I want to leave Jeremiah. When you guys get a chance, go up and read Jeremiah chapter 31, verse 22. And it says, God has done a new thing on this earth.
Amen.
Women will compass a man. That's all I can say this evening. Big up to you guys. Congratulations. Donna, I will catch you next week.
Yes.
Same time.
Yes. We're going to be talking about women and mental health next week.
Yes.
Okay,
You guys,
what is that scripture again with Jeremiah?
Jeremiah 31, verse 22.
22.
And just last before I leave, the www.tulipsblooms.org.
Oh, we're coming back to you, Ria. Just
yes,
Louis
yes.
Louis
God
had
bless
to
you
jump
guys. Coming up next on CRR network is Soccer at Balta. You guys have a great evening. God bless you. Okay.
All right.
Excellent.
Thank you, Louis.
Awesome.
Yes, Louis has a show at 8, so he has to get on to the next show. So yes, Miss Ria, finish up for us.
Oh, and so we we do seek out donations. We have our big fundraiser comes up October the 18th. It's going to be at the Multicultural Center in Pine Hills. We're doing it there, and we have the theme this year. We've been doing it for the last 5 years, so this is the 6th annual one, and this one is going to be pearls and denims. The attire is pink and white, and we look for sponsors. We look for vendors. With the tickets will be $50. The vendor spaces will be $100, and we pamper 10 breast cancer survivors that are newly cancer free. And we have people who give services to them. I mean, it's just beautiful. They leave with bags of stuff. We have different businesses, organizations that come and just donate to them. We give them all kinds of gifts and prizes, massages, all kinds of stuff. The vendors come. We have people who come sing and dance. We do line dance, and we just have a really lots and lots of fun. The vendors come out, and we just pour all this love into the ladies. We just have a table set up for them. We just pamper them the whole day. And it's just we do that every single year. We even have a Tulips Day, October 28th, that was given to us. So Tulips Day is the 28th, October 28th of every year. We have done so much within the last year. We've gotten donations, and we're able to do workshops. We give back to so many ladies. We help so many women who still go through surgeries. We provide clothes and supplies for them, because some of the ladies, even though they're cancer free, they still have surgeries, and there's still supplies that they need, down to gauze or like shirts and dresses. Like one lady need like button up dress because she couldn't move her arms, because some of them still have to get like lymph nodes taken out, and some of them end up developing lymphedema and different things of that nature. So there's still a lot of things that they go through after cancer. So we still want to be there for that support. So we have our website up, which is www.tulipsblooms.org. We put all of our different workshops that we do up there. We do have to get it updated. We have ambassadors who aren't breast cancer survivors who just love what we do, and they come and support us, and they volunteer. We do volunteer work for the schools. We're getting into the schools where the children come, and at the events they come and set up and take down, and they hang out with us, and we just love it. And so we built a really big community. We're very well known. So Tulips Blooms has been doing an amazing work. And we also help other organizations, and we go and volunteer at other organizations, because it's just not about us.
Right.
We want to make sure we go out in the community and feed the homeless. And we do vendor tables for other organizations, and we support other women of color. And women of color, we purchase tickets to go to other events, and you'll see us do other things with other people, because we want to show our support to other organizations that help us as well. So we try to make sure we give back as well. Instead of always accepting, we also want to pour into other organization as well.
Wow. Amazing. Isn't it amazing how everybody's life, whatever happened in their life, their pain became a purpose? Did you see that?
Yes.
I also have a book that's called There's a Message in Your Mess that you can purchase off of Amazon. So I took all of that and said, there's a message in your mess. And that's on Amazon as well. So it took, it's a sad thing to say, but it took for something to happen to me, for me to, fuel my purpose. And I'm also going back to school. That was one thing I struggle with, education. I think education is important. And in my professional life, that's something I struggle with. So I will be going back to school to become an esthetician here in the next couple months. So I'm just trying to, better myself. That's, I feel like that's what I want to do. And I want positive around me. And I just want to the goal is I just want to continue to better myself every day and do the best that I can and help other people. And that's what life is about for me. It's just bettering myself and being able to do for others.
Amazing. Did we get your website or your Facebook page?
Yes, it's Rhea D. Clarke-Newman, and then Tulips Blooms has pages as well. We're on all social media platforms as well. And www.tulipsblooms.org is our website. I do apologize. I do have to go, but I am going to be contacting all of you ladies. Y'all inspired me so much. I'm so proud of each and one of you. And I will be contacting you not only to just encourage you ladies, but I definitely want to connect with you ladies to be able to be some support to you all ladies. Maurita, anytime you need me. I was trying to get to your event, and it was a same day event, but I definitely want to connect with you and Miss Donna. Whatever you have coming up in April, please let me know, because I want to be a part of that as well. But ladies, thank you so much for this opportunity. I really appreciate you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you all so much. We do have a Second Chance Resource Fair coming up April 12th. And again, we support families are affected by incarceration, and that's gonna also be for men and women that's re-entering or have already re-entered back into society. So we'll have we'll talk more about that forum coming up. Women of Culture Inc. What we do, we support children and families affected by trauma, incarceration, and homelessness. And again, just blessed to be a part of all these amazing women. We thank you all tonight for sharing your stories, sharing your journeys, and just building relationships, building friendships. And with that, we say good night, we give thanks, and until next time, God bless. Good night, everyone.
Good